Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome here to the launch pad, or maybe good morning or afternoon, depending where you're joining us from. You're joining us for our live launch coverage of SpaceX Starlink Mission 3-1, the very first launch of any Starlink satellites into the third shell of the Starlink constellation. We're going to dive all into the mission here in just a couple of minutes. We're waiting for SpaceX to get their live feed up and away. SpaceX is changed a little bit, where they are no longer providing coverage from the T-minus 15-minute mark. Instead, they're doing it from the T-minus 5-minute mark. So we hope to get those live views up here in just a couple of minutes. But if it's your first time here, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the founder and host here at the Launchpad, and here at TLP, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together, and we are so glad that you are joining us for our live launch coverage of Starlink 3-1. If it's your first time here, let us know in the chat where you're watching from. Throughout today's stream, you can send in your guys' live comments and questions in the chat by tagging us at the Launchpad, and we'll be trying to answer those live as we go. But today's launch is a more rare one, launching from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California from Slick 4 East, the Space Launch Complex 4 East. Today's Falcon 9 Block 5 is booster 1063, going for its 6th flight on a 58-day turnaround. As I said at the beginning, this is the first ever time they are launching into the third shell of the Starlink constellation, which will be stationed at 560 kilometers in a low Earth orbit. Today's Starlinks will be getting deployed at about 320 by 308 kilometers, and they've got, of course, I Still Love You stationed 643 kilometers downrange, with the support ship Go Quest to help recover the fairing halves also for today's flight. This is the 101st Falcon 9 flight with a flight-proven booster and the 80th orbital launch attempt of 2022 of any space agency. SpaceX continuing to push that record of their consecutive landings, going for their 55th consecutive landing attempt here today. But if you guys have questions, you can send that in the chat, and we will be answering those for you. Make sure you're tagging us at the Launchpad, and if you're joining us for our live launch coverage of Starlink 3-1, launching from Vandenberg Space Force Station. We should have live views coming up from SpaceX here in the next minute or so from the pad as they get ready to launch their mission here today. We're going to be launching 46 more Starlink satellites into low Earth orbit for today's mission, and looking forward to hopefully having a clear, successful flight. If you're just joining us, though, welcome here to the Launchpad. You're joining us for our live launch coverage of Starlink 3-1, launching from Vandenberg Space Force Station. See a couple questions coming in the chat. You can keep sending those in by tagging us at the Launchpad. And yes, thank you for pointing that out, Liminal. Really exciting. 2 days away from the official first photos of the James Webb Space Telescope. But if you're not following us over on our Twitter, make sure you do so, because early this evening it broke that we are going to get one of those photos actually earlier than we were originally expecting. We're going to be getting one tomorrow evening with a press event with the President of the United States and the NASA Administrator Bill Nelson. So we hope you will join us for that live. Those events are pre-scheduled, so make sure you go hit set reminders so you get notified when we go live. But we are counting down T-minus 4 minutes, 20 seconds and counting until liftoff of Starlink 3-1. Let's listen in to SpaceX Mission Control.
You're watching the 51st Starlink mission, SpaceX's 29th launch of 2022. The teams are currently tracking no issues, and as you can see, it's a pretty foggy day up in Vandenberg today, but conditions are actually looking good with only a 10% chance of violating launch criteria. The range is green and ready to support liftoff in just under 4 minutes from now. In preparation for liftoff, we are standing by for TE retraction. Might be a little hard to see with all that fog in the area. You just heard Falcon 9's first stage, also called the booster, is now fully loaded with RP1 and liquid oxygen, or LOX. The second stage will finish up its LOX load in under a minute.
And as we come down to T-minus 1 minute, 45 seconds and counting, as always here on the launch pad, we want to see a go, no go in the chat. If you're a TOP member, you can use those custom emojis.
Falcon 9 is now fully loaded with 1 million pounds. Fully loaded with 1 million. Fully loaded with 1 million pounds. Fully loaded with 1 million pounds of fuel and liquid oxygen. Today marks SpaceX's 167th overall mission and the 6th flight for the booster that you see there, sort of.
Power and telemetry, let me know.
Falcon is supersonic.
As you just heard, Falcon 9 is traveling faster than the speed of sound.
Max Q.
Falcon 9 has passed through max Q. This is the moment of maximum dynamic pressure the vehicle will feel during flight.
Vac engine chill has started.
We're just about 30 seconds away from main engine cutoff, the first of 3 events that will happen in quick succession. MECO will be followed by stage separation.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
Vac ignition.
Bearing separation confirmed.
As you can see, those fairing halves have deployed, marking the second flight for those fairing halves, and we will be attempting to recover them once they fall back to Earth. Beautiful view of planet Earth from both angles. The first stage on the left-hand side of your screen, with those grid fins now deployed, and the second stage,
signal, C-band.
second stage on the right-hand side of your screen. If you take a look at the telemetry for first stage on the left-hand side of your screen, you might notice that the booster is still climbing in altitude. It has not yet reached the peak of its journey. It will be returning to Earth, and we'll be attempting to recover it on our drone ship. As a reminder, today's payload is for SpaceX's satellite internet constellation Starlink. Everything continues to look nominal for both first and second stages.
Both vehicles are following nominal trajectories.
The booster on the left-hand side of your screen is now beginning to descend, make its way back to Earth. It'll use the grid fins that you see there to help steer as it re-enters the thick part of the Earth's atmosphere. We're just about under 30 seconds until stage 1 entry burn, where the first stage will ignite 3 engines to slow it down.
Stage 1 FTS as safe.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
You can see on your screen there, those 3 engines have reignited, helping to slow the first stage down as it re-enters the atmosphere.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Signal Hawthorne.
Stage 1 transonic.
As you just heard, the first stage is traveling near the speed of sound.
Stage 2 FTS as safe.
At the T+8 minute mark, everything continues to look nominal for the second stage.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Stage 2 terminal guidance.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
All right, as you saw there briefly, as the smoke clears, there we see once again, Falcon 9 has landed, marking SpaceX's 55th first stage landing on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You. This is the 51st overall Starlink mission and the 29th launch of the year.
Pico.
As you just heard the call out, the second stage engine has cut off, waiting to hear the call out for good orbit.
Nominal orbit insertion.
And there you just heard it. Stage 2 is now carrying 46 Starlink satellites into low Earth orbit. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check SpaceX social media for confirmation of Starlink deploy.
And there you have it. The mission has been completed. Another great flight of a Falcon 9 booster, having successfully made its flight, sending those Starlink satellites up to a low Earth orbit. They're going to take about an hour to have actual deployment, so SpaceX is wrapping up their coverage there. We're having a few issues in the back-end studio. Sorry, we had that audio mishap at Liftoff. We're going to work on that, so we're going to wrap it up here, so we are ready for the launch out of Australia in just a few hours, so we hope you'll join us for that. If this is your first time here, though, welcome here at the launch pad. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together, and we hope you'll engage that subscribe button to never miss another live launch coverage, space briefing, space news update, or exclusive one-on-one interview right here on the launch pad. But that's going to do it for us today. This is Zach from TLP Network Studios signing off. We'll see you in a few hours for the launch of NASA 3 out of Australia. Bye-bye.